In the dim glow of twinkling Christmas lights, Mark stood frozen in the middle of a bustling holiday restaurant, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. The woman across from him, Sarah, had just whispered words that shattered his world. "I'm not who you think I am, and neither is your daughter." If that twist has you hooked already, smash that like button and hit subscribe for more heart-wrenching stories that remind us love comes in unexpected packages. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Mark Thompson was a single dad in his late 30s, the kind of guy who'd trade a night out for building Lego castles with his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Life hadn't been easy since his wife, Emily, passed away 3 years ago in a car accident that left him questioning everything. He worked as a mechanic in a small town outside Chicago, fixing cars by day and tucking Lily into bed with stories of brave princesses by night. Christmas was always the hardest. Emily had loved the holidays, turning their home into a winter wonderland with homemade cookies and carols blasting from the old radio. This year, Mark's best friend, Jake, decided enough was enough. "You need to get back out there, buddy," Jake had said over beers one evening. "I've set up a blind date for you. Christmas Eve, at that fancy Italian place downtown. She's perfect, trust me." Mark had laughed it off at first, but Jake's persistence wore him down. "Fine," he'd grumbled, "but if it's a disaster, you're babysitting Lily for a month." Little did he know, Jake had his own agenda. Jake's wife, Mia, had a coworker named Sarah who was single, kind-hearted, and yes, obese. In a misguided attempt at matchmaking, Jake had described Sarah to Mark as stunning and full of life, conveniently omitting details about her appearance. He figured once Mark met her, he'd see past the surface. But Mark, still raw from loss, wasn't ready for surprises. The night arrived with a fresh blanket of snow covering the streets, turning the city into a postcard scene. Mark dressed in his best button-up shirt, splashed on some cologne he hadn't used in years, and kissed Lily goodbye as she giggled with the babysitter. "Have fun, Daddy. Bring me back a cannoli," she called out. His stomach twisted with nerves as he drove to the restaurant, imagining a glamorous woman waiting for him, someone who might fill the void Emily left. When he walked in, the host pointed to a corner table where Sarah sat, her round face lit by a candle, wearing a red sweater that hugged her ample frame. She smiled warmly, but Mark's steps faltered. She wasn't what he'd pictured. Obese? The word flashed in his mind, unbidden and unkind, a product of society's harsh judgments he'd absorbed without realizing. He felt tricked, a surge of anger toward Jake bubbling up. But politeness won out. He sat down, forcing a smile. "Hi, I'm Mark," he said, shaking her hand. It was soft, warm, like a comforting embrace. Sarah's eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Sarah," she replied. "Jake's told me so much about you. You're the hero dad raising that adorable little girl." They ordered wine and appetizers, the conversation starting awkwardly. Mark talked about his job, the endless oil changes and engine repairs, while Sarah shared that she was a pediatric nurse, specializing in kids with chronic illnesses. "It's rewarding, but it breaks your heart sometimes," she said, her voice steady but laced with emotion. As the evening progressed, Mark found himself loosening up. Sarah had a laugh that filled the room, genuine and infectious, and she asked about Lily with real interest, not the superficial kind, but questions that showed she understood the weight of single parenting. Yet, beneath it all, Mark couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. Why hadn't Jake been honest? Was this some pity setup? As dessert arrived, a decadent tiramisu they decided to share, Sarah sensed his unease. "You seem distracted," she said gently. "If this isn't what you expected, it's okay. I get it a lot." Mark's cheeks burned. "No, it's not. I mean, Jake didn't exactly." He trailed off, ashamed. Sarah nodded, her expression softening. "He tricked you, didn't he? Set you up with the fat girl, thinking it'd be a lesson in not judging books by covers." Her bluntness caught him off guard, but she wasn't angry, just resigned. I've dealt with it my whole life. People see the weight first, the person second. Mark shifted in his seat, guilt gnawing at him. I'm sorry. It's not fair. I've just been stuck, you know. Since my wife died. He opened up then, spilling stories of sleepless nights, Lily's nightmares, the way Christmas felt empty without Emily's magic. Sarah listened, her eyes welling up. I lost someone too, she admitted quietly. My fiancé, 2 years ago. Cancer. It changed everything. They bonded over shared grief, the conversation flowing like a river after a dam breaks. Mark laughed for the first real time in months when Sarah recounted funny hospital tales, like the time a kid convinced her to dress as a superhero for chemo day. As the restaurant emptied and the waitstaff began stacking chairs, Sarah leaned in, her face serious. Mark, there's something I need to tell you. It's why Jake really set this up. His pulse quickened. What could it be? I'm not just a nurse. I was Emily's nurse. The words hit like a freight train. Mark's fork clattered to the plate. What? Sarah took a deep breath. Your wife, Emily Thompson. I cared for her during her last weeks in the hospital after the accident. She was incredible. So strong, even at the end. Memories flooded Mark, Emily's pale face in the ICU, tubes and machines beeping relentlessly. He'd been so focused on Lily, he barely remembered the staff. But why didn't you say anything sooner, he whispered, paralyzed by the revelation. Sarah's voice trembled. Emily made me promise. She knew she wasn't going to make it, and she talked about you and Lily constantly. She said, if you ever meet my Mark, tell him to find love again. And if it's with someone like me, kind, but maybe not what the world calls perfect, grab it. Jake found out through Mia, and he thought, well, this was fate's way. Tears streamed down Mark's face now, the weight of 3 years lifting and crashing all at once. Sarah wasn't just any woman, she was a link to Emily, a guardian angel in disguise. Her obesity? It faded into irrelevance. What mattered was her heart, her empathy, the way she saw the world through a lens of compassion forged in loss. They talked until the restaurant closed, snow falling heavier outside. Mark walked Sarah to her car, the cold air biting but his chest warm. I don't know what to say, he admitted. Thank you. For everything. She smiled through her own tears. Emily would want you to be happy, Mark. And Lily deserves a family that feels whole. He hugged her then, a real embrace that lingered, promising more than words could. The days after were a whirlwind. Mark confronted Jake, who apologized profusely but insisted it was meant to be. Dude, Emily's last wish? Come on. Mark introduced Sarah to Lily cautiously, starting with a Christmas Day playdate. Lily took to her immediately, drawn to Sarah's stories and the way she baked cookies just like Mommy used to. Challenges arose, of course, Mark's lingering doubts about moving on, Sarah's insecurities about her body in a world that judged harshly. There were arguments, like when Mark hesitated to post a photo of them together online, fearing trolls. Am I embarrassing you? Sarah asked, hurt. No, he replied firmly, I'm scared of losing you to my own stupidity. They worked through it with therapy, open talks, and small acts of love, Mark joining Sarah at the gym not to change her, but to support her health goals, Sarah helping him decorate the tree with Emily's old ornaments, honoring the past while building the future. Months turned into a year. Lily's 7th birthday came, and Sarah was there, organizing a party with balloons and games. Mark proposed on the anniversary of their blind date, under the same Christmas lights in that restaurant. You paralyzed me that night, he said, kneeling. With truth, with kindness. Will you marry me? Sarah said yes, her ring finger trembling as he slipped on the band Emily had once worn, a symbol of continuity. Their wedding was simple, in a snowy chapel, with Jake as best man and Lily as flower girl. Challenges didn't vanish. Sarah faced health scares related to her weight, motivating her to lose some for her own sake, not society's. Mark supported her every step, cooking healthy meals and walking hand in hand through town, ignoring stares. They adopted a rescue dog, naming it Hope, and started traditions that blended old memories with new joys. Years later, as they watched Lily graduate high school, Mark reflected on that fateful night. Life's tricks could be cruel, but sometimes they led to miracles. Sarah's revelation hadn't just paralyzed him, it had awakened him to love's true form, imperfect, resilient, profound. And if this story touched your heart, reminding you that beauty lies in the soul and second chances are worth the risk, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel for more tales of hope and redemption, and share it with someone who needs a little Christmas magic in their life. You never know whose world you might change.